female called Paulo, big tuskers.
Selenkay is a Maasai-owned conservancy about 16 kilometres north of Amboseli National Park. It is part of the same ecosystem, and wildlife migrates backwards and forwards according to the seasons. Selenkay is about 60 square kilometres, and the land was leased by Game Watchers Safaris with the idea of protecting the habitat, as humans are continually encroaching on the land, and this is a natural wildlife dispersal area in the wet season, natural from Amboseli, that is. Dispersal areas are vital to relieve pressure on the reserves in the wet season and give them a chance to regenerate. Equally importantly, migration corridors need to be left open so that the animals are free to move between the park and the dispersal area.
It's almost touching the ground.
Since the area was managed for conservation, there's been a big increase in the number of wildlife that's appearing here, and also elephants were absent from this area for about 20 years, but now, as you can see, they're back. Also, the quality and amount of grass and other bush is greatly improved, although it's hard to see it at the moment because of the drought. One benefit to farmers is that they are allowed to use the area for grazing in times of severe drought. Everyone's a winner when the land's subject to good management.
See how they walk? It's called ambling. Legs of one side move together, followed by the other side.
Oh yes.
Ambulation.
Yeah, ambulation.
Like a model walking down the runway.
It doesn't look too good at the moment because we are actually visiting right in the middle of the worst drought Kenya's experienced in about 40 years. You'll be pleased to know that further on in the year the rains did break, and then actually Kenya was subject to quite severe flooding in early 2024. These ostriches seem happy enough, and we saw several families wandering about. And there were loads of gerenuks. This is definitely the best place I've been to see gerenuks. Everywhere else I go, as soon as you pull up near them, they just dash off into the bush. But here, they don't seem fazed at all. Gerenuks can obtain all the water they want from the vegetation that they eat, so the fact that there is a drought has very little effect on them. This is a Kori bustard, very common in dry areas, and yes, they can fly. We did go for a little walk round. Admittedly, the car followed us, but it was a totally different feeling actually being outside near the wildlife with nothing between you and them. I was really glad that these big boys were actually totally uninterested in us.
Imagine if you were just...
Yes. The one at the, they live up to 70 years. 70. And the one at the back is the oldest one. That's one is early 40s.
Another one of my favourite antelopes, the lesser kudu. Normally they're very shy and run away straight away, but here they let us take photographs. As with the gerenuks, only the male lesser kudus have horns.
What is the name of that?
Lesser kudu.
Lesser kudu?
Lesser.
Lesser, right. Lesser kudu.
Female kudus are more of a russet colour. I don't think we saw any females in Selenkay.
Inside of his ear, like orange. Your mommy would say, don't come this way.
Oh, playing the role.
Yeah.
Here's a female gerenuk doing its party piece of standing on its back legs to feed. This means it can reach up to 2 metres high. Being able to stand on its back legs to feed gives it an advantage over other antelope. As this is a privately run reserve, you are allowed to go off-road, which is really good. And also, there's very little traffic because there's only one camp. The downside is there's less eyes out there scanning for rarities like leopards.
His little face.
Male gerenuks will often form small bachelor groups. You can see why gerenuks are also known as giraffe gazelles. Females and young form family groups of up to about 6. It's a rather nice area to be based in, and it contrasts well with Amboseli proper. The drive down to the reserve is through Selenkay and some Maasai lands and is about an hour and a half, but there's lots to see on the way. This area is home to some of the biggest tuskers in Africa, and we were lucky enough to see one. We noticed that most of the elephants we saw in Selenkay were males.
You went right through? I went right through? What are the birds that are all...
Although we didn't film them here, there were a lot of impala, Grant's gazelles, Thompson's gazelles and warthogs. The bird life wasn't bad either, especially around the camp. Overall, Selenkay, with its loads of elephants and quite a wide variety of antelopes, is a really nice place to stay. It can be viewed as a kind of add-on to Amboseli proper. When you stay in the one camp, you have the option every day of a drive down for a full day in Amboseli. Selenkay is a beacon of conservation and illustrates that with some good management, man and animals can peacefully coexist.